The October 23rd, 2018 meeting of the Ways and Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello. Here. Mr. Baroff. Here. Mrs. Conley. Here. Chairman Delahanty.
Here.
Mrs. Draw is excused. Mr. Felder is excused. Ms. Cayley. Here. Mr. Mafucci. Here. Mr. Marionetti. Here. Mr. Morelli is excused. Mr. Rockow. Here. And President Carbone.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Legislator Mafucci to the committee. Thank you for joining us here this evening. And I'd also like to ask Legislator Mafucci to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any speakers signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to address the committee at this time? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the minutes from the September 17th, 2018 meeting before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Okay. The next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
Referral 18-0276.
Moved by Legislator Connolly and seconded by President Carbone. Is there any discussion? Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, apparently this grant will help us seize additional funds. And the sheriff has stated that we've seized a little over $300,000. Now, what I would like to know is, where does that money go that's seized?
Through the chair. Sorry. Through the chair. That referral went last cycle for the asset forfeiture program, and it's the federal asset forfeiture program.
Through the chair to the administration. So we haven't seized funds through this program?
Through the chair. Again, that referral went last cycle, and I don't have all the documents with me because obviously I brought it last time. And we do seize funds and items. I don't have the information with me right now.
Hey, thank you very much.
Legislator Baroff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the administration, I have a couple brief questions regarding this. It mentions the Monroe County Task Force members. Am I correct to assume that only sheriff's deputies are members of the task force? Through the chair?
Through the chair, the executive oversight is RPD, MCSO, and DA's office. And then within there, we have a sergeant and 2 deputies assigned to that task force. Okay.
But through the chair of the administration, this funding is only for overtime for members of the sheriff's department, or is it other members as well?
Through the chair, just for the sheriff's office employees.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, how did Monroe County learn about this grant?
Through the chair, I received an email from the senator asking if I had any projects, and I submitted a few projects, and they selected this one.
Okay, thank you. And through the chair of the administration, do we know if these sort of funds are also available to other counties, or just specially tailored to our county? Through the chair.
Through the chair, I would assume his district.
Okay, thank you very much.
Legislator Cayley. Okay. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0277.
Moved by President Carbone, seconded by Legislator Rockow. Any discussion? Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through you to the administration, am I correct to assume that the garage we're purchasing and renovating will not need additional funding beyond regular maintenance past this year, through the chair?
Through the chair, yes, that'd be correct. This is just to repair the roof and some structural damage and needs, and a new garage door.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, do we currently utilize this garage?
Through the chair, yes, we do.
And thank you. And then finally, through the chair of the administration, is the use of the garage going to be changed in any way as a result of this, these repairs and such?
Through the chair, we might be just storing more equipment in there because it'll be a little bit safer.
Thank you. But still the basically the same function through the chair.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Legislator Baroff.
Sorry, my bad. So through the chair for the administration, one last question. Does the city currently own the property the garage is actually sitting on?
Through the chair, they own a partial of it. New York State DEC owns the other share.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I assume that poses no complications for the county.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0278.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Cayley.
Thank you. I wasn't sure who you were going to call first. Sorry, legislator. Just a quick question through you to the administration. This is the first year that this entity, Trinity Services, the first contract with them. Can I ask who the last one, what the last service group was, and why they, did they not reply, or were dissatisfaction?
Through the chair, the previous contractor was Aramark Correctional Services. They also submitted a proposal to this request for proposals, and the Trinity Company was the lower bidder of the two contractors that submitted bids.
Thank you. No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, one brief question. How many respondents were there to the RFP in total?
Two, one from Aramark Correctional and one from Trinity.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0279.
Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Marianetti. Is there any discussion? Legislator Connolly.
Mr. Chairman, through you to the administration, it's mentioned that part of the project includes the expansion of both jail visitation area at the downtown jail and the holding area behind City Court 1 and 5. How much will the expansion include for the jail visitation and the holding area downtown, and how much of that expansion will be for courtrooms 1 and 5?
Through the chair, are you asking for square footage?
Yes.
Through the chair, I'll have to get back to you with the square footage. I contacted the architect's office to find out the exact square footage. The visitation area will be a much larger area that's going to be expanded than the court.
Thank you. And through the chair, what will go into the expansion of the visitation area?
Through the chair, we will demolish one area of the social visitation now, which we use for parole hearings and non-contact visits. That will become a new 20-person booth area for social visitation. And then the old, I call it the old staff services side, the other side of the building that's not occupied now, will be demoed. In that area, we will create visiting booths for attorneys and professional visitors to come to. There'll be non-contact ones. There will additionally be small meeting rooms, a couple large meeting rooms, a new parole hearing room that'll be much larger and much more safety and security minded for the parole officers and the parole judge that comes in. A new lineup room, that will allow us to bring civilians in from outside of the building without having to treat them like they're going inside the building and take everything out of their pockets and do things. We'll still search them for security purposes, but it'll be much safer and nicer for individuals that are actually coming in that were victims that have to identify.
Thank you. And as a follow-up, Mr. Chairman, through you to the administration, what security upgrades are we putting in place?
Through the chair, in the bullpen, we have open cells now. Those will become block walls with windows on it. The windows will allow us to be able to see everything inside the area. We'll have much better sight lines back in that area. Right now there's blind spots. There'll be cameras added to the area, controlled doors to allow people in and out. There'll be actual heating and air conditioning that works in that area, which would be nice. In the visitation area, it'll remain pretty much the same as it is now. There'll be controlled doors. Everything will go through our Black Creek security system and through the control room that we have already in the visitation area.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, through you to the administration, what's the timeline for when this project will be completed?
Once everything gets out, the bids come back, it's 1 year from that time.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the administration, why did the project need to be moved up from where it was placed in the capital improvement project before?
Through the chair, it wasn't in the capital improvement project before. It was in our master plan. It was cited in the master plan that came out in 2015. We've been looking to upgrade it for a couple of years. We put out a request for proposals in May of 2015. We got that back with all the drawings in March of 2017. The New York State Commission of Correction recently cited us for not having enough visitation booths. The way that they calculate it is based on our maximum facility capacity. They've known that this project has been in the works for a number of years, and they've kind of given us a pass. Very recently, they decided they weren't going to give us a pass anymore.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, how many visitation booths are we adding?
Through the chair, we'll be adding 20 social visitation booths. We'll be adding 4 non-contact booths. If you just give me a second. Seven small meeting rooms, 2 large meeting rooms, and a parole hearing room. And then 2 group cells and 2 individual cells in the visitation area.
So overall, you're adding 34 visitation rooms to the existing structure? Through the chair. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0280.
Moved by Legislator Marionetti, seconded by Legislator Connolly. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barra.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the administration, and the referral refers to regional partnerships and promoting them. What regional partnerships are we referring to? Through the chair.
Good evening. Through the chair, Deputy Public Safety Director Tim Kohlmeyer. Regional partnerships are with the City of Rochester and Genesee County Emergency Services.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, do we anticipate any expansion of the partnerships in the future potentially? Not necessarily, but potentially?
Yes.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Legislator Connolly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the administration, could you give us some examples of some of the technical rescue field response and operations that are funded by this grant?
Through the chair, could you clarify that?
Can you give us an example of the type of
Rescue work?
Yes.
Okay. Through the chair, structural collapse, water rescue, rope rescue, confined space rescue, trench rescue, wildland search and rescue, swift water rescue, ice and cold water rescue.
Thank you. Through the chair, could I have a list of all the local agencies that the Monroe County Special Operations Unit currently partners with?
Yes, we'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Legislator Barat.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the Chair of the Administration, could I have a copy of that list as well, please?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0281.
Moved by Legislator Connolly, seconded by President Carbone. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barat.
Thank you. Through the Chair of the Administration, is the station list posted on the website still up to date?
Through the chair, it is, as far as we know, because we get the information from a lot of other agencies. Jean collects it once or twice a year. But it's pretty standard, like, you know, whatever it is, the second Tuesday or something like that in most agencies.
It doesn't change much then, through the Chair.
Through the chair, correct.
Thank you. And then through the Chair of the Administration, I know this is primarily for the purchase of not so many, but some safety chairs, car seats, as well as their installation. Does this also include the opportunity for citizens to come up and have their car seat checked for proper installation?
Through the chair, this grant primarily funds low-income type clients, so she gets referrals from social services already, so their income eligibility has been met, and then she makes schedules appointments accordingly. They have to contact her. So that's what the bulk of this grant pays for.
Thank you. So am I correct to understand then that the station list posted on the website is actually less significant than we might otherwise think because she schedules by appointment?
Through the chair, this is this one program, but on the website is different fire departments and other places in the community that offer car seat checks. She also does some special events out in the community, like she partnered with Delta Sonic a couple weeks ago and did one there and things like that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
President Carbone.
Yeah, through the chair, is there a reason for the $1,500 decrease from last year's grant?
Through the chair, just what the state decided to give us kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0282.
Moved by President Carbone, seconded by Legislator Rockow. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barat.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the administration, am I correct to believe that the compact mobile surveillance trailer costs $50,000?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you.
Fully equipped, yes.
Fully equipped. And through the Chair of the Administration, leading my next question, what can the trailer do?
Through the chair, this is a mobile video surveillance device that has connectivity back to our network for remote monitoring of local critical infrastructure, specifically festival-type operations, in which we partner with law enforcement to set it up so that we can maximize our impact for those events.
Thank you. And through the Chair of the Administration, is this the sort of thing that's going to be utilizing in one form or another, like an extension to a video camera, something like that, is up on high to increase the range of view, or is it something that's more ground level?
Through the chair, this has a extendable mast to it that puts the camera up high so that we can get above the crowd.
Thank you. And finally, through the Chair of the Administration, when will we be receiving this trailer, assuming we go forth and approve the referral?
Through the chair, we're not sure on the exact construction time frame for it, but we expect it in early 2019.
Okay, so it's fair to assume then before the next festival season then
That's
next
correct.
year. Okay, thank you.
Legislator Connolly.
Mr. Chair, through you to the administration, can local municipalities or organizations reach out to the county and ask for the county to provide assistance at festivals or town events or things like that?
Through the chair, the program is developed around a partnership with law enforcement. It's not designed around a community ask per se, but if they were working with their local law enforcement agency, then we'd be able to provide that.
Thank you.
Okay. Legislator Kaley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration. That last question brings me to ask, what is the procedure for deployment? This is the festival capital of New York State. Obviously, they're all over. And would there be a hierarchy of deployment? Give me a hint.
Through the chair, the question is if there is a double ask, if there's two events simultaneously, in essence.
I guess there could be 3 through the chair.
Right. I don't have an answer for that as to how we're going to prioritize that, whether it's a first come, first serve, or it's going to be crowd size. I would imagine it's going to be based on a threat analysis by law enforcement.
Okay, thank you. And then through the chair, if I may, if we're looking at crowd size, then we're looking at something that would be deployed countywide, not just on the periphery, but throughout the city as well.
Through the chair, that's correct. This is for any law enforcement application in any of those jurisdictions.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0285.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Through you to the administration, I was present at an earlier committee meeting where it was the question was asked, did other school districts participate, and if not, why not? And the answer was they do not, because we're just going forth with the 2 we have currently, and that we're at our capacity. My question is, through the chairs, what is the limit on our capacity? Is it a finance question? Is it personnel or something else?
Through the chair, it is our ability to safely and efficaciously meet the request to immunize. Right now, we said we can do this for 2,000 students.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, if it's for safety reasons and we can't exceed 2,000 students, what would be necessary for us to exceed 2,000 students? I mean, what's the limiting factor through the chair?
Through the chair, a tremendous, it's a complicated formula as dictated by Article 28 in the New York State Department of Health of RN to LPN ratios per facility in the flu season. It may be more helpful to explain when we do this, we go out in teams, and in order to meet the request now between the Monday after Thanksgiving, completing before the Friday before Christmas, we are every single day in 3 to 4 teams of multiple nurses. That's all the nurses we have.
Right. So if I understand correctly, then the limitation is the number of nurses and LPNs we have. That's the total number. That's the limitation.
As well, through the chair, as well as billing staff, clerical staff. There's multiple pieces that come in.
Sure, but through the chair of the administration, but per state regulation, it's the number of the ratio between nurses and others, correct?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. And then finally, well, hopefully finally, through the chair of the administration, do we assume the cost of this program, or do the school districts assume the cost of this program?
Through the chair, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to the administration, are we actually turning down school districts that want to participate in this, or that they just don't really want to do that?
Through the chair, no, we haven't turned anyone down.
Thank you.
Legislator Connolly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, through to the administration, what's the cost of an individual shot, an individual immunization?
Through the chair, that's a complicated also answer. Vaccine costs, we purchase vaccine for children who have commercial insurance, which we pay for out of pocket, and then hopefully their insurance reimburses us. Children who fall in the category of vaccine free for children, federal program. The actual vaccine is free of charge. So it's really challenging to calculate the exact cost. We can bill any third-party insurance if it exists between $18 and $22 per injection.
Thank you.
So sort of answers it.
Thank you.
President Carbone.
Through the chair, are you ever limited by the amount of vaccine that you have?
Through the chair, absolutely. We are hoping to get the amount of vaccine free for children that we are asking for from the CDC. And if we don't, then we have to purchase the vaccine to meet the number of students who have signed up and requested the vaccine.
Thank you.
Okay. Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, I just have a quick follow-up question. Are the other school districts aware that this program exists and that they could participate if there were openings available?
Through the chair, we had, when the program was under the research program of the University of Rochester for the first 5 years, the University of Rochester solicited and asked and worked hard to recruit school districts into this program. Many of them it was a double-blind study, so they didn't necessarily get the immunization. It was randomly double-blinded. Who got immunization? Who did we just evaluate their rates of flu vaccine? Some of the school districts suggested that it was the process of bringing students out of class and bringing them for immunization was very interruptive to their day, and that was not how and when they wanted to do it. Some school districts have brought in other ways to do that in their schools. So have we solicited further from when we started 5-6 years ago? No.
Thank you.
Okay. Legislator Brock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To follow up on that, I understand that you're at capacity and you cannot solicit more school districts because you simply can't do any more right now. I understand that. But my question is it not so that the school districts, even though they may have declined this opportunity in the past because of the double-blind study and the fact that there is inconvenience to the students or whatever it may have been, whatever the rationale was, but they do know that currently you're at capacity and that the opportunity to participate in this program has passed? Through the chair.
Through the chair, yes, I believe that is correct. Again, we are doing exactly the school district, same districts we did last year.
Right. So if school districts know that this is no longer a possibility, I wouldn't expect you to get any requests because they already know the answer is no. Through the chair.
I can't speak for the school districts through the chair.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, don't mean to beleaguer this because it's an extremely important event in a child's life that they get immunized. Is it fair, or am I allowed to ask of the school districts that have not agreed to participate or declined? Is probably the best way to put it. Are these more of a suburban type of school with perhaps more students that have the ability to have insurance?
Through the chair, I don't know that it's anything can be across the board like that.
Okay. In that they are not participating, thank you, through the chair, the schools that are not participating, are we getting data through the health department of the number of immunizations that are taking place and the number of children that are not being immunized? Because I'm assuming that those that participate in the county's program, those numbers would be coming in, required to come in. So are the numbers also required of whatever schools that are not participating?
Through the chair, it's important to note that this project is solely for flu vaccinations, which are not New York State required.
That's right. Thank you.
Required vaccines, absolutely. I also want to point out that the immunization clinic at Westfall Road will offer free vaccine to anyone from any district who walks in our door.
Well, thank you, that, through the chair, what you said made sense, and I was focusing on something else. But equally important is the impact of influenza on any community on any given year, because vaccines have been good, and they've been less than good, and it would seem that we're coming into an era where they're working and not working. So, again, addressing the flu vaccines, are we soliciting or asking for the data as the percentages of the children that are either declining or accepting flu vaccines through their programs?
Through the chair, we can access, as the local health department, through the New York State NICES program, we can run statistics that can give us the numbers and the percentage of who is vaccinated.
All right, thank you.
Through the chair, I want to be clear, we can't necessarily break it out by school district, but we can by census tract.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0286.
Moved by legislator Ansello, seconded by legislator Marionetti. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroff.
Mr. Chair, through you to the administration, it's a technical question. Am I correct to assume that a release of a permanent easement is simply just erasing that permanent easement from the property? Is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, then why is there any cost associated with that?
Through the chair, there's mapping cost and recording cost to record the fact that it's been released.
Well, yes. I mean, but through the chair, I mean, those are clearly either much more or much less than $1. That dollar is just a pro forma sort of thing. I'm just curious why it was there, because it's not usual that we release permanent easements is all. So it's just we're doing this because of custom? Through the chair.
Through the chair, it's being done to release a smaller easement in order to make one large easement that covers the area that's needed for the new traffic signal and the new entrance to the two facilities.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Legislator Baroff.
My bad, sorry. Then through the chair of the administration, have the environmental assessments been completed to date yet?
Through the chair, yes, they have.
They have. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0287.
Moved by legislator Marionetti, seconded by legislator Connolly. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through you to the administration, will eminent domain be used at any point? Through the chair.
Through the chair, no, it will not.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I noticed in a few of these parcels, we're talking about 1 square foot. Could you explain how we got to 1 square foot through the chair? I mean, on 5783 Watoma Beach Road, it's 1 square foot. Is it like an inch line, something like that, or what, through the chair?
Through the chair, it would be, 12 inches by 12 inches or, some variation thereof.
Okay. I was just shocked. Okay, never mind. Fine. I'm not going to beat that dead horse, so.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0288.
Moved by legislator Connolly, seconded by President Carbone. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, when I read this referral, I understand that we're gaining for one particular year an additional $72,000, or a total of $72,000. And then we have an option to renew again for 2 additional one-year periods. Have we actually secured funding for those 2 additional years in terms of additional grant support, or no? Through the chair.
Through the chair, no. The funding is for 1 year, and we don't know if the funding will be renewed next year.
So it's quite possible, through the chair of the administration, that we may modify this a year from and either increase or decrease or leave alone the grant funding as it's written. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. And then finally, through the chair of the administration, what are we getting for this additional $72,000 that we're getting?
Through the chair, the additional $72,000 is going directly to support the contract that we have for nursing services for the home visiting part of the NFP program.
Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, does that mean there will be more home visits as a result of the additional $72,000 than would have been otherwise been the case through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. And do you have an estimate on how many home visits that might be, or is that impossible to determine?
Through the chair, that would be really impossible to determine, but what I can say is that it will fund approximately 3/4 of a full-time nurse.
Over the course of 1 year through the chair? Correct?
Yes, over
Okay.
the course of the year.
Thank you very much.
Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration. It's always a good thing when we get more funding for nurse-family partnerships. I mean, that's a given. But in the one answer, there's no guarantee that we'll receive funding next year. Familiar with it to the extent that I am, if we don't receive funding and we have a family in the partnership and don't have enough funding coming through this stream, are they in danger of being dropped, or do we have a way of finishing out their term of service?
Through the chair, our commitment is to complete each one of our clients through the second birthday of their child. And so the way that we would deal with this is by not taking new cases. We wouldn't drop cases that we are currently following.
So thank you. And then through the chair, but there may not be the funding that this grant is doing to cover the ones that are already in the program. I think that's what I'm getting at. Do we have enough funding if we pull any new, all right, let me back up. With this grant being accepted, are we indeed accepting new families into this program?
Through the chair, we are always accepting new families into the program. If we didn't have this funding, we would accept fewer new families in the program. Once we've accepted a family, we have, our commitment is to sustaining the program at its current state, whatever that might happen to be. Our intention is to continue and complete with whatever families we have enrolled.
Thank you. And then through the chair, to the administration, at what point do you estimate in the coming year that there may be monies in the pipeline or not that would cause you to close that application, not the process, but the acceptance?
Through the chair, the funding for this program has been, you may be aware, really difficult during this year, and we are struggling with some funding cuts, and so as a result, we're looking wherever we can at being able to secure some additional funding. Our intention whenever we look for funding is to look for funding that's sustainable. Although, as I've said, this funding, there's no guarantee that the state will do this again next year. We have a sense from them that they will certainly try to be able to come up with the funding in subsequent years. I'm not sure if that answers your question exactly.
Through the chair, it basically answers the question. And just one last one. Through the chair, can you estimate or guesstimate how many families that might be waiting for services at this point that we have not been able to bring into the program?
Through the chair, at this point, we do not have a waiting list. We have been able to enroll families as they're referred to us. Not every client who is referred eventually does enroll, but we have been able to handle each referral as it comes so far.
Thank you. That was a great answer.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0289.
Moved by President Carbone and seconded by Legislator Rockow. Is there discussion? Legislator Kaley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the administration. This is the first year that Monroe County has received this grant. If additional funding for the program as it exists does not come in next year, are we committed to sustain it?
Through the chair, we would not have the dollars to sustain it, though we certainly could have discussions with the State Office of Mental Health. It is also expected to, discussions with them to that point to see if there are other funds that could be applied. What we have done is asked any potential respondents to the request for proposals to include a plan for how they can move to as much sustainability as possible through billing for services, for the behavioral health services that would be involved. So hopefully that would offset some of those losses potentially in future years.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Administration, am I correct to assume, though, that the sustainability cost associated with maintenance in future years would be significantly lower than the amount of money that's currently being funded by the grant, since we're talking about renovating a building or a new location? So would that be a fair assumption through the chair?
Through the chair, can you please restate your question?
Sure. Currently, we're getting a grant for about $589,000, and that includes renovating or finding a location for this drop-off center. Once we renovate it or adjust it to the use that we need to use it for, any future costs to make the program sustainable, I would assume, would be less than $589,000 per year. Is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct. The $589,000 plus is all-inclusive for all facilities renovations, personnel costs, equipment, et cetera.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, while you don't have any RFPs back yet, do you have an in-house estimate of how much would be devoted towards the renovation and such that would not be a recurring expense? Through the chair.
Through the chair, we do not yet. Our anticipation or hope is that that should be a minimal part of this, because our hope is that a successful respondent might already have a crisis location where they provide such services, so that the total renovation cost should be fairly minimal, and that the majority of the funding would go towards actual operations of the service rather than towards facilities.
Would it be possible, through the chair, that a respondent could in fact come back and say, because we have such a facility in place already, we can provide this service for this number of clients, either a greater number of clients than we would anticipate, because the number was 300 to 500, or alternatively, the same number of clients but over a longer period of time? Is that possible through the chair?
Chairs, that's certainly possible. They have to submit to us a plan for sustainability and what's going to be offset through billing, so all of those are potential outlooks, yes.
Thank you. So through the chair of the administration, it is possible someone might come with a longer-term plan that we actually solicited for, correct?
Through the chair, they may, but we're only talking about this being for a year with this funding.
Yes.
The funding must be expended in the year by the end of the year 2019.
Well, that's good to know. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Legislator Kaley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, what if, in fact, no one that has a building or facility steps forward or submits an acceptable proposal?
Through the chair, we would go back to the drawing board and we would retool what our proposal is. The State Office of Mental Health has been very clear about us being one of, I believe it is, 6 counties who've been awarded these funds based on high rates of individuals in our local jail facility with mental health, significant mental health concerns. So my anticipation is that we could then retool and say, you know, what do we do next? Go to a plan B. I hope we don't have to go to that, but that certainly could be the next step if such a scenario unfolds as you've described.
Thank you. And then through the chair to the administration, in the case of that happening, is it potentially that Monroe County would either build or, probably not build, or renovate or retool a existing facility themselves?
Through the chair, We will look at all options. That's a very unlikely one. We have chosen to try to stay out of the fray of direct clinical services, although our division, as part of DHS, provides a number of important services for people that we view as high need, high priority in the community. We certainly don't want to be in the direct aspect of providing clinical services, including billing, et cetera. Furthermore, if I may, to start such a center, we've had stakeholders come together several years ago to look at this as a possibility, and the minimum estimate for an area of our population size and need would be a minimum of $800,000 to over $1 million just to get started. So the close to $600,000, even though it's a significant amount of funding, probably would not be enough to develop something from scratch.
Thank you. And if I could just say through the chair, I guess, I really don't know. I don't know what the facilities are available out there or the agencies that may have a facility that with retrofitting would be appropriate. It would be my hope that it would be, that part of the scope of this plan would be a location that was fair to all. In other words, there might be someone out there that's just a little bit farther away or less central, that might be part of the point process when you're awarding this? I guess that's a question now. Through the chair, would that be part of that process?
Through the chair, I'll view that as a question because I think I understand what you're getting at. It's certainly our preference on behalf of our administration, DHS, and Mental Health Division to have services located in the most convenient, accessible location. Although we didn't put this specifically in the RFP, we would view that to be a location in or surrounding the highest population area of our county, which is certainly the city. So we would look at that more strongly or favorably than other locations. We wouldn't want it located somewhere where it's hard for people to get to.
Thank you.
No, and especially that includes law enforcement who want convenience of bringing people to this site.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0290.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0291.
Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Marionetti. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the administration, there's an amount that's been granted to us and an amount that's being contracted out from us. And there's a difference of about $31,500 between the two. Where are those funds going to, through the chair?
Through the chair, those funds are going to oversight of the program by the Office for the Aging. It includes developing the work plan, monitoring, processing vouchers, submitting reimbursement claims to the state, and other attendance at elder abuse meetings, and some rent feed for the contracted staff that monitor this program.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, is that amount already included in the 2018 budget for the Office of the Aging?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, I'll point out to you in the first paragraph as well as bullet point number 2, there's an amount listed of $713,465 as the contracted amount. But if you go to the purchase of service information form, the amount is $713,456. So those two numbers are transposed. Can you tell me which one is correct through the chair?
Yes, through the chair, it is, the question is the total amount you're saying through the chair?
The proposed amount for the contract in the referral is listed as $713,465. However, in the amount listed in the purchase of services information form, it's $456 instead of $465.
Yeah, it's through the chair, it's $713,000, 465.
So 465 is correct.
Correct. Through the chair.
That's kind of surprising to me. So the purchase of services information form through the chair is incorrect.
Through the chair, it is incorrect, and that will be corrected.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
through the
Legislator
chair,
Baroff.
I assume that will be done prior to the full-ledge meeting then? That correction will be made prior to the meeting of the full legislature?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0292.
Moved by Legislator Marinetti, seconded by Legislator Connolly. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Okay. Just have an item under other, tonight under other matters. President Carbone and I had invited County Clerk Bello to join us to answer questions regarding the Office of Public Integrity's investigation of the mishandling of personal and private customer information at multiple DMV locations, as well as the New York State DMV audit of Clerk Bello's DMV offices. I'm very disappointed that Clerk Bello has chosen not to join us this evening to answer this committee's questions and engage in discussion about the findings of these investigations. Tonight marks the third time Clerk Bello has been personally invited to answer questions at a Ways and Means Committee and has chosen not to engage in a productive discussion with our committee. It is unacceptable to me that Clerk Bello continues to pass the blame and refuses to join us to provide answers to our questions in person. Okay, thank you. There being no other matters, the October 23rd, 2018 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will be held on Tuesday, November 27th, 2018 at 6 p.m.